The NHL Four Nations Face-Off is officially underway, and with 2 games in the books, let's recap who should be the clear favorite to win the whole tournament. In more international hockey news, the NHL announced its plans to bring back the players to the Olympics in 2026 and 2030, as well as a new plan for additional World Cup of Hockey tournaments, with the first being in 2028. In much smaller news, Vegas will be without one of their best defensemen for potentially a long time after an injury in this tournament, and a longtime player officially announces his retirement from the league. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and another episode of This Week in the NHL. We are officially in the Four Nations Face-Off break, so that's what this episode is going to be mainly focused on. I'm going to break down all of the games that have happened so far and go through a couple of other stories that have happened from this past week in hockey. Now, before we get into this episode, we have a new sub goal of 30,000 that we're going to be trying to reach soon. So if you guys want to watch more fun hockey content like this, go ahead and hit that like button now and subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, let's talk about this week in the NHL. Four Nations opened up in the Bell Center on Wednesday night with a matchup between Team Canada and Team Sweden. Before the game started, there were questions about how the physicality would look in this tournament, but that was answered pretty early on with some great plays by both teams. Canada was given the first power play of the game thanks to a high stick from William Nylander, giving us a look at arguably one of the best power play units to ever exist. McDavid to Crosby, a sweet dish cross crease to McKinnon, and Canada is on the board early 1-0. Next goal would belong to Brad Marchand, who would tally an impressive goal alongside his line mates Point and Jarvis, who all showed up and showed out that night. To start the game, Canada seemed to be the more dominant team in this tournament, but Sweden's sustained pressure to start the second finally came through as a shot by Jonas Brodin beats Jordan Binnington. Rickard Rakell's cut in front of the Canadian goaltender was at the perfect time and didn't allow Binnington to see anything on the shot from Brodin, making this game a little bit more in reach for Sweden. Things started to pick up with both goaltenders saving shot after shot, and Rasmus Dahlin had this beautiful goal line save to keep the game close. Shortly after, Sidney Crosby sets up Mark Stone for a one-timer goal. The Canada captain holds off Gustav Forsling after entering the zone, waits for Stone to enter, and he dishes it to his wing, who slams it by Gustafsson. The Swedes would refuse to go away in the third period, playing with a compete level that a lot of people didn't expect. It all starts in the offensive zone when they tied the game, though. A face-off won by Loui Eriksson, who eventually finishes off a pretty passing sequence with Jesper Bratt and Lucas Raymond. With 11 minutes to go, it's a 3-3 contest, and while both teams played impressive for the rest of the period, neither could score, meaning we needed overtime to settle this one. This insane overtime was to follow, and both goalies truly silenced any criticism about their ability to step up in the big moment. But it was Mitch Marner who became the OT hero for Canada in this one, with a high cheese rip to beat Gustafsson and grab the 2 points for Canada. With the way the tournament is formatted, this was a huge game for the Swedes because even though they were down 2 goals, they somehow got themselves a point out of this one. A regulation win gives you 3, overtime win gives you 2, and an overtime loss gives you 1. So the standings would be Canada with 2 points and Sweden with 1 after this one. Game 2 of Four Nations, USA vs Finland, and this one started off slow for the favorite Team USA. Finland played their brand of hockey through the first period though, smuggling any chances from Team USA as they continued to search for some chemistry. Finland would get on the board early thanks to a tally by Henri Jokiharju. The defenseman jumps up into the play, takes a saucer pass from Mikael Granlund, and beats Connor Hellebuyck over his right shoulder for the score. Soft goal by Hellebuyck, but this one was far from over. Moments later, US would strike back with the first of many Tkachuk goals as Brady Tkachuk banks a puck off UC Saros for the equalizer. The second period was similar to the first, defensively driven and equal through the first 17 minutes. That is, until a pair of Minnesota Wild teammates would connect for Team USA. Matt Boldy would tip Brock Faber's shot past UC Saros, and the USA would have their first lead of the tournament. Third period, and this game opened wide up for Team USA, with Freebird playing just about every couple of minutes. Just 15 seconds into the third period, and it's a 2-goal lead from Team USA thanks to a long shot from Matthew Tkachuk on the power play. Just 11 seconds after Matthew Tkachuk's goal, Jake Guentzel beats UC Saros with a shot off the rush to give USA 2 goals in the first 26 seconds of the third. The floodgates have opened at this point, with Brady Tkachuk potting his second of the night to make the game 5-1, followed by his brother Matthew, who picks up his second of the night on the power play with around 8 minutes remaining, just completely sucking the life out of Team Finland and taking the first regulation win of the tournament. Next story of the week, and this one is a huge one. The NHL is returning to the Olympics. Gary Bettman announced that the league had reached an agreement to send its players to both the 2026 and 2030 Olympic Games for the first time since 2014. Bettman said that this agreement is part of a larger push from the NHL for more international best-on-best competition between its players. Moving forward, he said that the league plans to rotate every 2 years between the Olympics and the World Cup of Hockey, with the next in-season international event occurring in 2028 for the World Cup of Hockey. Next story, and this one's a bit of a disappointing one. Shea Theodore is now going to be out for the remainder of the Four Nations tournament because of an injury that he sustained in Game 1 against Sweden. Thomas Harley is reportedly flying to Boston as an emergency defenseman for Team Canada in case they need it. This is not only a tough blow for Team Canada, but for Vegas and Theodore as well. He's been tremendous for them this season, and a big reason why people were a little bit timid about this tournament is because of the injury factor. These players are going to play very hard for this tournament because they're representing their country, but unlike the All-Star game, when you typically go to these events, you're not expecting your players to get hurt. So hopefully we can get some good news back for Theodore. It looked like it was a wrist injury, but for the rest of the tournament, he will no longer be playing for Team Canada. Last story of the week, and this is the only one unrelated to international play. Loui Eriksson has officially decided to hang up the skates and retire from the NHL. The 39-year-old forward had 613 points, 253 goals, and 360 assists in 1,050 games played with the Dallas Stars, Boston Bruins, Vancouver Canucks, and Arizona Coyotes. He also had 14 points, 6 goals, and 8 assists in 44 Stanley Cup playoff games. Eriksson released a statement saying that it's time. After a year and a half of reflection, it's time to officially retire. Hockey has given me more than I ever could have imagined. I've had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, but at the end of the day, I'm so thankful for the memories that I'm bringing as I walk away from the game of hockey. But this is all of the news from the past week of the NHL. Stay tuned for more Four Nations action as we have Canada versus USA tomorrow, as well as Sweden versus Finland. Let me hear your guys' updated predictions in the comments below, as well as your thoughts on all of the stories that we talked about today. Thank you guys as always for watching these videos. Make sure you like this one and subscribe to the channel for more content. I will see you guys in the next episode.